Hello and welcome to my channel GreenLion Goddess Tarot. This is your daily reading for the weekend of the 29th and the 30th of May. So still in Gemini season, ending the month of May. 30th is actually my brother's birthday. So celebrations. Maybe for some of you Geminis out there who are celebrating birthdays. Let's see what's coming through the energy for the day. Let's see. Justice. Okay, we do see this rebalancing happening, but it's happening more on a relationship level. The Four of Swords coming in. Let's see what else is in the Three of Swords. The Four and the Three of Swords right next to each other. The King of Cups. Okay. A lot to do. Focus on relationships and emotional stability and how that is going for you. So let's see. And the Chariot. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And there's a lot to do, themes around emotional safety, finding higher ground. The Eight of Cups makes a lot of sense with this reading. So it's all a lot to do with your emotions, your relationships, some kind of wound. The Three of Swords, as a lot of you know, is the wound that can come up. And it's interesting, it's right next to the Four of Swords, because when it does come up, and particularly in the element of air, where in Gemini, it clears. It helps it, sort of stops it festering somehow. It does help clear the air, I guess, with something. Here we have the beautiful Miss Stell. You've come to visit everybody today, have you? So there is a sense of perhaps clearing the air, perhaps putting aside some grievances, perhaps putting aside your wound. You see in the Four of Swords that those three swords are hung up on the wall, detaching from that and spending some time to really think about what that was about, really understand it from a different perspective. It might be a bit of a mindset shift coming in. And that's where we've got the Justice card coming in, beautiful Libra energy, which is around rebalancing in a relationship. And so then we have the King of Cups, which you can see that he's surrounded by all those turbulent emotions, but he has found a place where he has found some kind of stability within that. He's got stable ground. He's found I guess safe, but it's not so much that. It's more safe with the Chariot, but it is an energy of feeling like, you know, he's the master of his emotions, not the other way around. And the Chariot being a Cancer card, it is very much, it can be around emotions around the home or around with family members or with mother. But also the Chariot, you can see that the figure is, and I'll put, as you know, this is up under the screen, so I'm assuming you're looking at that, not at Stella. But you can see he's donned his armor there. You know, he's in feeling the need to protect himself. He's feeling like he needs safety is very important. So that seems to be a very important theme, just as Stella's eating my hand. So, and interestingly, the Eight of Cups is walking away from a situation that hasn't been emotionally fulfilling. And it's kind of interesting because the King of Cups is holding a cup. And it's kind of like saying, if that's not feeling safe, I'm taking my feelings and I'm walking away for the moment. I'm detaching myself because I've been hurt. And so it's the sense of I'm finding a place where I feel safe, where I feel like I can take some time out to process what it is that I'm feeling. And ultimately, you know, the Chariot is overcoming conflicts. And so, you know, with the flanked by the Justice card and the Chariot, I feel like ultimately there's some kind of conflict here that has occurred or might be occurring. Could be present, could be past. But it's been risen up. A wound has come up to be cleared, basically, to be looked at, to be understood, to be balanced, and to let go of. There's a very strong sense of hang those three swords up, let go of something, an aspect of that that's not fulfilling you. And the Eight of Cups can be just detaching. You know, it can be walking away, but it can be like that Buddhist concept of detachment, of non-attachment, I guess is probably a better word for it, where you're not attached to it. You could still be in a relationship with someone, like Stella was biting my hand, but I'm like, well, I don't want my hand bitten, so I'm detaching from that. She's still here. So we've still got a nice relationship. But I've just said I don't like that. Okay, so there could be some conversations around that about letting people know what you like and what you don't like, resetting of boundaries of relationships, really. And the most important thing is coming back to what's important to you, where you feel safe, where you feel stable, finding your solid ground. So that's kind of interesting. And it doesn't need to have a conversation as well, because the Four of Swords is really taking some time out to understand the stories, retell the stories. There could be a huge mindset shift around this, a different sets of understanding, and all the energy of late with all that Sagittarius, Gemini energy in the eclipse and Gemini season has all been around finding a greater sense of truth and understanding. And so now that eclipse season kind of blew everything we knew out of the water kind of thing. It was something happening at this other level, which still is landing and still we might not fully process or understand. But then it's kind of like, well, if we ground down into reality, how can we actually, I don't know what she just flicked off then. How can we actually apply this? Now that it's up there, that energy was so high vibrational, almost like we couldn't make sense of it for the eclipse. But then it's coming down into, okay, now we're going to apply this energy and our new understandings and possible repatternings to our relationships, and particularly one where you've been very hurt, or a theme within a relationship that is consistently hurting you. So, it can be something big, it can be something small, it could be something and just that annoys you. Why can't you do that yourself? Why are you always asking me to do that? It could be something small like that, or it could be something big like I always shut myself down within a certain situation because I think I'm going to get hurt. So, it could have been a huge grievance that occurred in the past. It's going to be different or happening right now. It's going to be different for all of you. But really, ultimately, it's interesting because the Chariot has got the two Sphinxes, like Stelly's sitting right now. And the Sphinxes are the riddles between the two different sides, the two different peoples, and it's making sense of the riddles. Something didn't make sense, or you didn't understand someone's point of view, or they didn't understand your point of view, and it felt like you were two very different. It was too different. There wasn't like a common ground of understanding, and that's what that Four of Swords does, is it takes those riddles and it retells the stories into something that makes sense. So that's there's been potential for some misunderstanding, or could be potential for misunderstanding, but there's also the potential for making sense of it and healing. And so ultimately, on a bigger picture, if this happens as a micro thing, maybe you have a fight with a partner, or an old wound comes up, or it doesn't even have to be a partner. It might be like a little tiff with a friend or a family member. It's really bringing you back to a message about what your heart needs at this moment in time. So listen to those messages because they're coming in strong. And ultimately, the energy is of balance, bringing in greater balance, a healthier boundary for you. So that's what it's about. And that's it. That's the weekend. And I would say spend some time thinking about that. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.